OT University. I'm talking about exclusion in the academy. Is exclusion driving polarization? And I really want to set up. Sorry, so it may not work. If it doesn't work, then we'll just wing it. I can figure it out. I hope. Boyce of OT University talking about exclusion in the academy. Is inclusion driving polarization? And just as a note, after this is lunch, so after the questions for Michael, it's possible if you want to open up the floor to general questions to the general groups, we can do that, or we can just have that conversation over lunch downstairs. So, thanks. One more thing. Oh, okay.
I'd like to hand these out too, just to give you a little bit of extra info. You can pass them around. So yeah, to begin with, my apologies for coming in late. I came from Hamawatsu to Shizuoka, and the trains got all mixed up, but I made it. So I'm kind of lucky actually, because coming after Maria. Coming after Maria, she was talking about critical reflection, and that's a lot of what I would like you to do for this presentation. So it's pretty timely. We could think this is a dangerous topic. You know, if exclusion in the academy is inclusion driving polarization. Yeah. Maybe you're already thinking, what's he going to talk about? Inclusion is now. Inclusion is now a hot topic, and I'd like us to take a step back and think about what inclusion really means to all of us. I would say, I'm in the dangerous territory already, but I would say the liberal concept of inclusion right now is perhaps mistaken. We are making inclusion through exclusion, is my feeling. And my background is a conflict resolution person. And conflict resolution means see the conflict, deal with it. Don't separate it. So, the dictionary definition, bring everybody together. Everybody comes together. That means everybody. Inclusion does mean everybody, even the people that you may not like. Even the people that you completely disagree with, people who say rude and terrible things, we need to bring them in somehow. This is sort of my perfect world where we have different groups. Of course, there's not just two groups, but we have different groups and they come together with crossover. And those are the allies. Those allies that can work with us to create better understanding. Now, to get to the academy part, this will be a quick part. These are a few studies that I found that it was the break between Democrats and Republicans in American university faculty, in humanities and social science universities. The ratio between Democrat and Republican is generally 7 to 1 or 8 to 1. That's not really half and half, right? We have, since 1970, this ratio has doubled. It was about 1 to 4, or 4 to 1, sorry, 4 to 1 in the 1970s. Now it's 7 to 1, 8 to 1. Well, actually, it's more. That's 2005. It's actually more now. And a lot of the Republican side people in the 70s are now getting older and phasing out, and the younger people are becoming more Democratic. Now I'd like to step back and take us away from politics. It's not just Democrat Republican. I'm Canadian, so we don't do that. It's left, right, it's right, wrong, it's whatever. Whatever you want, okay? It's different groups. And I'm going to go over a lot of stuff I'm sure you know. I didn't know my audience, so this is what's going to happen. North Pole, South Pole. Picture in your mind, not the most hospitable place. You don't want to spend your time relaxing in the North Pole or the South Pole. You do want to relax here, somewhere in the tropics, somewhere in the happy zone in between the two poles. But left pole, right pole, same thing. Whatever concept you want to have, A, B, you don't want to be in the extremes, I believe, as a conflict resolution person. Why does it happen, though? I'd say we go with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Of course, we've got physiology, safety. Do you know this? Yes? Okay. Love and belonging, there it is, in the group. We need to be in a group. We feel better in a group. We feel safer in a group. And who knows which kind of group, but we look for groups. But above that is esteem. Esteem is pride. So if someone tells you, your people do this, or your people do that, and it goes both ways, it goes every way is your people. We get hit with our pride. We lose our esteem. We don't necessarily feel confident. This is not the best place for me, I think. So I think what we're doing is we're creating inclusion through exclusion. We are defining ourselves as left because we are not right. We are liberal because we're not conservative. We are right because we're not wrong. And everybody believes that, by the way. Everybody believes they're right. We're conscious or we're woke because we're not racist, we're not sexist, we're not whatever it is you can think of. It's my belief this is the wrong way around. We should be finding things that we do right, not what they do wrong. And this goes in politics everywhere as well. Because center never goes to hate. It really doesn't. When you've got center thinking, when people are working towards center, it's pretty difficult to generate a feeling of hate. But to the extremes, right or left, we do eventually come around to hate. Look at history. Everybody thinks they're doing a good thing, and then bang, we're into hate. So that's a concern. Attribution bias. Do we know? No. Okay, attribution bias is the basic idea that if I like you, everything you say and everything you do is good. If I don't like you, everything you say and everything you do is bad. Simple concept, but we all do it. I do it, you do it, I'm sure. So, when you consider that probably most people in the world are maybe 10% bad, in some way, shape, or form, and 90% good. Even the people that we don't like, they're still 90% good. They have people who love them, who care about them, they have families, etc., etc. So, of course, if we only get to know the 10% bad, then we're going to immediately drop them into one or the other areas of polarized politics, polarized thinking. And this applies to established names and markers on the dark side, whatever the dark side may be. And I can tell, some people out here are thinking, he's the dark side. and I want us to think about these names. I don't know if you know these people. They're quite popular. They're more right-ish, conservative-ish. But there's something they all share, and this is a dangerous thing for me to say, they all share. They're all smart. They're really smart in their own way. Donald Trump has a different type of intelligence, but it's media intelligence that I think is amazing. And all these other guys, have you spent the time to really listen to them, to read them? Every single one of these people I disagree with fundamentally on a few things. They offend me. But the rest of it is pretty good. the rest of it actually makes a lot of sense. And we need to step back and not react. Oh, it's that guy. We have to listen to learn. I wrote too much on the slide, so I'm just going to paraphrase. We're in this all or nothing thing. You know, you're with this person or you're not with this person. Well, conflict resolution guy, I don't believe in that. There's a lot we can learn, and we can cross over into the dark side. We can be labeled a traitor. We can be labeled one of them or something, and then people stop listening. There's absolutely no interest. You're one of them. I don't care. But this is a. Can you read that back? Okay. This is a post that came from one of the guys in my Facebook feed. He is generally extremely offensive to me. Everything he writes and everything he thinks about offends me. But I keep him on my feed because I can learn so much from him. Him and the comments, the little things he posts are more enlightening than the things he posts. Now reading this, the CDC says over 4,600 kids commit suicide each year because of bullying. This is a serious thing. This is very, very important for everybody. I don't care, left, right, it doesn't matter. This is important. But then we go below that, and I think it'd be far more beneficial to have March against bullying than having March to take away our Second Amendment anyway. Now this is a march I would guess. A lot of you out there, Americans here? Americans, Second Amendment, what is it, right? The right to bear arms. Canadians, well, different. But the right to bear arms is generally a conservative right feeling. So when you read that, suddenly you're looking at the top part, which is important. You're looking at that top part in a different filter, a different way. So we miss something. The bullying is bad. The bullying is dangerous. You can also see on the top here, educating liberals. That sounds okay. But then below that, education for libs. Libs is not something that liberals say. That's a little marker that those of us, we see that and we go, oh, he's not one of us. And we have to be careful of that. Above that, there's a very small post that this friend wrote, sharing some logic regardless of the inability of the lemming left to grasp it. These are not friendly words, but we have to get past that to the issue of bullying. Bullying is important. It doesn't matter who's telling us that. And we all share this. If we can all share it together and talk about it together, maybe we can make a change. Social media, we know this, but these social media bubbles that we create, they reinforce our ideas, whatever they may be. Just recently, Facebook has come out and said they do it on purpose with their algorithms, etc. And it pulls us away from our large group of allies, and our allies get smaller and smaller. Our allies are smaller, our ability to come together for resolution decreases. Now, back to the academic side. The students hear and see all of these biases. Every class that we teach, everything that we say, the students are picking up on these things. In my class, I can say something about, the things happening in America. That's a very simple idea. The things happening in America, and some student will be like, Trump. And I might smile, which reinforces that idea. Now, I believe that as educators, we have a responsibility to pull people back to center. Even if we believe left or right, it doesn't matter. It's our job, I believe. So, how do we do that? Awareness, constructive controversy, politeness, expanding pie, and reality. Now, constructive controversy I don't have time for today, I believe, so if you want to know about that, please talk to me later. And also on the paper that I gave you, there's a link to a good book, or not a link, sorry, one of the authors, Dr. Johnson, involved. So basically, we can only change through education and experience, with like everything. Now, this is might be too small. This is a letter that was sent to the class of 22 students of the University of Chicago. Now, I like what they do. I like what the University of Chicago is doing. I can share this with you later. But they are basically saying, any ideas you have, you must learn to defend them academically. You must stand up for them academically. Can you read that in the back? Okay, so I'll just step aside and let you read. Can I go to the next part? For me, this is education. I think that's why we're at university, is to stand up for our beliefs, whatever they may be. And if we deny speakers, if we deny different ideas, what does that mean about our ideas? Are they strong enough? Can they withstand a little bit of academic scrutiny? I don't know, but it concerns me that if we keep blocking, and we think about the ratio, the left-right Democrat-Republican ratio, 7-to-1, it's getting easier and easier to block things because we all feel the same way. Probably in this room we have very similar ideas. And so if I talk to him, I talk to her, and we say, what do you think? Yeah, and then we just keep moving in that direction more and more, which concerns me. Awareness also. Do you know this website? I found it because when searching for a lot of this information, I wasn't familiar with a lot of websites that were writing stories online, and I didn't know where they stood. This website is not perfect. It's used by many different people, and those people add their opinion. So the opinion of the viewers skew these results, but it gives you a better understanding than nothing at all. And you basically type in, for example, this site, the College Fix, and it will tell you there's a right bias. It will tell you how much of the reporting is true or just opinion and all of that. It's very important. If, like myself, I've been in Japan for 23 years. I'm completely out of touch with what's going on in North America. So this site helps me decide which sites are, or understand which sites are which. Sporadic method. Ask questions. Just keep asking questions. Get your students to ask you questions. If I say something in class, I want the students to challenge that with a good question. And try to bring everybody back to the center. I do projects where my students research MPOs in Japan, and they come to me with a proposal, and they say, what do you think about this? And pretty much every year, at least one student comes to me with revisionist history, Japanese revisionist history, sort of right, Uyghur, nationalist MPO. And this is difficult for me. It's not my position, so I have to be very careful how I grade these things. I have to be very careful how I help shape their ideas, not so that my bias doesn't influence them, because I don't think it should. But I should ask them questions. I should get them to double check and triple check what they're really thinking, where their information came from, just like I should ask someone else on the other side. Politeness. In Helmut, I'm building a cafe, and this is one of the proposed pricing schemes that I've been thinking about. It would make a far friendlier cafe environment. Are you familiar with the zero-sum game? The idea that if you get something, I lose something. And this is, I believe, the root of a lot of evil. If you're happy, I must be unhappy. It doesn't work for me. In the conflict resolution world, we talk about expanding pie. So instead of having one pie that we're breaking into limited pieces, make more pie. I mean, I love pumpkin pie. Make more pie. It's a get creative, get experimental, and think of a new way to make pie. Parsnip. I found this online. I'm not quite interested. Politics, alcohol, religion, sex, narcotics, and pork. These are things that we're not supposed to talk about. That they're too dangerous or they're too volatile for a classroom. I say talk about them. Create a framework that is safe, respectful, polite, and talk about everything. It's the only way that we're going to share these ideas and really understand what other people are thinking. So through all this, I've come up with some questions of reading and watching those individuals that I showed you before. We talk a lot about group identity and group rights, individual identity and individual rights. And if there's a negative group association, it's bad. But if it's a positive group association, the group is good. Don't have time for this, but basically, I'd like us to think more about these groups that we have, these various groups. And are they necessary? Do we need to make these groups? Or for me, I would just like to think positive and negative. Forget about groups. Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing for everyone? Is this a human thing? And that's the most important thing that we should be focusing on. How far is too far? How much is too much? If somebody's really thought about it, if they have a good, solid background, they're willing to discuss this, whatever it may be. But if they're not, you might get an emotional reaction. I'm hoping that we can avoid the emotional reaction. And, for example, this one, in the hierarchy of inequality, where does it end? And it's a good question. It doesn't, I don't know, and I don't think anybody, I've never heard a good answer, because it doesn't really end. Is that good or bad? That's a big discussion. When I was 19 years old, I was passing through Los Angeles, and I had the opportunity to meet Ice-T when he was debating censorship in the United States. And he was the first person to get the parental advisory explicit content sticker on the CD, the first artist to be censored. And as a 19-year-old, coming from Canada, I was quite surprised at the ideas, and he said he very strongly supported the right of the Ku Klux Klan to march and to protest. And that confused me for a while. But he said that that's what it's about. It's about freedom of speech. It's about the ability to say what you think and what you want, and other people can tell you is wrong. And you can spend your time explaining and telling people it's wrong and trying to teach them. But I learned from myself. So, to sum it up a little bit, we've been trying to achieve equality. And then we moved on to achieving equity. And this is all good, but for me, we need to remove the cause of the inequity. And the only way we're going to do that is by learning from the other, talking to the other, understanding why they believe what they believe. If we just ignore everybody, it's not going to work. So get to know the other 90% good. The other 90% good. Not the 10% that makes you react, the 90% that is generally good. And do that together. 5 minutes. Oh, good time here. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm sure some of you have questions for
Michael.
So, questions from the audience?
Yes.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
I have 2 questions actually.
Yes.
One, when you talk about good and bad,
Yes.
what is like your framework? What is that based on? What is good? What is bad?
Perfect question.
Right?
That's the discussion that I want everybody to have. My good and bad probably fluctuates every day, depending on mood, experience, etc. Bad is a difficult one. Good is, for me, I hope there's a lot of good out there. And the real bad is small, I believe. Because even whatever we may think is good or bad, the people doing bad things think they're doing good things.
Right.
So we have to try to understand how they see that as good, is my feeling. So everything is good? Sorry, it's a non-answer, but we can talk about this later. I don't think there is a good and bad so much. It's an opportunity for discussion. Thank you.
I have a question. It's not fully formed yet, so please bear with me. But first, thank you for your presentation. I worked in a large research university on the West Coast in Canada, so I encountered a lot of these things. So I think about them quite a bit. It reminds me of an article I read about an instructor who she had previously used more kind of a post-structuralist approach in her classroom, so kind of saying like, we construct good, we construct bad.
Okay.
But then in her class, she had an interaction between two students where one student's view of history was greatly hurtful to another student. And
Not real you.
created
Created you.
yeah, so basically,
She decided to do
this student who made a comment about an event in war that they believed didn't actually happen, and this other student, her ancestors had experienced this, so they had very different views of this. And
is this a true story?
this is a true story.
Okay.
Yes, this is an academic article that I read. And so in this situation, she was kind of at a loss of what to do because she had previously taken an approach of kind of similar, so trying to bring students to the center and having a discussion. But in this case, she saw the actual impact on the students who had been hurt. And so I'm just curious about what you think about that balance, because as much as we want to kind of perhaps be impartial and listen to each other, sometimes I think that there is that real sincere pain. And I often wonder how we can address this, I guess, in a constructive and yet very serious way. I don't know if that makes sense.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
It's the part I skipped. The constructive controversy
Yes, yes.
is the framework that I would approach that from. I'll agree. Or, sorry.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, trying to help people understand the pain. It's a different, very difficult situation. But I believe that if you start your class, in the beginning of your class, and you have guidelines, things that ways we have to speak, the language we have to use, and if you set that out and you are strict about that, at least it protects situations from getting way out of control. I think. Is that a constructive controversy? We should talk about that later.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, sorry, kind of building on that, I guess there's also got to be a scope of practice. How far can you take these discussions in teaching English as a foreign language in Japan with students who may have a limited vocabulary?
Yes.
We had, when I was teaching in California, I had two students who got into a real issue, and they just didn't have the vocabulary, they didn't have the tools to actually get to that kind of discussion and understand. So there's, at some point, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but I think there's how deep can we really get into it, given
Language
the
limitation.
language limitations we might be working with a particular class.
Very good point.
So there's a scope of practice issue, or how deep do you go with in a particular
I agree.
environment.
Perhaps try to use easier topics to
Yeah.
begin with to set up the framework, to practice the constructive controversy framework. Constructive controversy, basic idea, is a debate. I call it debate 2.0. You take a debate and then you switch sides and switch materials and switch everything, and you have to see from both sides, you have to work from both sides. And in the end, you take all that information, A, B, and you come together to find the best solution for everybody. That's, for me, the goal. And then I'll take A, B, come together, and then another group, and then they come together, and they still keep working to find the best possible solution. Seeing both sides helps to create understanding as a whole. But language is always going to be an issue. I think that's where the professor has an obligation to ask the questions that might guide a little bit. You know, ask a question and have the students come up with the answer that might take them maybe where we want to guide them. All right. Time to lunchtime. Are there any further questions from the audience?
All right.
Yeah, please.
You said that you worked in Japan for 23 years.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, I feel like Japan is culturally avoids confrontation. Right? So when you tried this method in the Japanese context, what were some of, did you face any cultural challenges? Because maybe this idea of in a low context society, it's okay to talk about everything, but in a high context society, you probably move away from certain topics.
Yes.
Did you face that as a challenge in the Japanese context, or is this more of a Western idea?
In a Japanese English class context,
Yeah.
not so much.
Okay.
Because I say, welcome to my class, this is what we're doing. And if they don't get involved, then it's not going to go so well for them. Now, in a Japanese context, I do a lot of environmental work, a lot of conflict resolution environmental stuff. That's a totally different conversation, and it is far more challenging. Also, continue talking about that more, but in the English context, I think if there are rules and there are guidelines and there's a framework, most people can follow along because they understand it's something they have to do for the class. And I think that also allows people to step out of the cultural boundaries. You know, this is English class, so I can say crazy stuff. And I ask my students to propose crazy ideas, just to get them used to it. My student just last week was talking about swimming to Australia. So I was like, okay, well done. And he did it in 3 minutes. So that, to me, that allows people to sort of break out of these limitations.
Okay. I think it's probably all the time for questions we have now. It's now lunchtime, so we're just going to round up applause to all of our